I am doing very monthly reset big girl things. This is the part of the video that I have been very scared to do. I think it would be so unhinged and so funny to read like an actual horror book about a scary monster and then essentially a dark romance about said monster. So
that's where my mental space was at if you were curious.
Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori if you're new. I am so happy that you're here and I hope that you're having the best day of your entire stinking life. We are doing a monthly reset vlog. I'm not gonna lie, these vlogs have become some of my favorite to film. Number one, because I feel productive like cleaning and getting ready for the new month and setting myself up. But also just that, like it's so refreshing to be like, okay, it's monthly reset time. Let's set up our bullet journal. I'm gonna be setting up my July bullet journal spread in this video as well, instead of that being a separate video. So it won't be as like in depth. It's not gonna be a full like 10 to 12 minutes as I usually do if I make it a separate video. So it's going to be more concise of a journal setup. I hope that you're excited as well. If you are, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. The first thing that I really need to do is wash my bedding. I need to do other laundry, of course, because I was traveling last week and so I still haven't unpacked my suitcase. So unpack my suitcase, like I mentioned, set up my July bullet journal spread. Also setting up kind of my July tentative TBR. So we are extending this monthly reset vlog into a day 2 because I wasn't able to get everything done that I wanted to yesterday. And I need y'all to be proud of me because I am doing very monthly reset big girl things. I'm cleaning out my cabinet, which is like our pantry. I really wish that I had an audiobook to listen to. Unfortunately, I don't because I DNF'd The Poison Season by Mara Rutherford, which is big sad. You're gonna hear more about that in a weekly reading vlog that's coming up very soon. I don't like to be left alone with my thoughts, and this is difficult to like clean and do things and just be left alone with my thoughts. This is the part of the video that I have been very scared to do because my reading mood is so
weird.
That I've had a lot of trouble deciding on what I want my TBR to be for July. But here we are. I have a tentative stack of books. We're gonna call all of these hopefuls. We're first gonna start with the books that I plan to read for summerween. I think that those are the most solid on this list that I am definitely gonna get to. I don't know exactly what prompts I'm gonna be reading these for. I'll try to align them somewhat. The first book I'm hoping to read during summerween is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I have yet to read a horror book by Grady Hendrix. From what I understand, he writes kind of horror that has like some comedic elements to it, not like funny haha, but like situationally. I think that it's kind of satirical, and I love that so much. If you're new to my channel, I have been very focused on romantasy for a very, very long time. Romantasy is like my #1 genre. I used to be a thriller girly, but I've kind of shifted from being a thriller girly to being a horror girly. And so in between my romantasies, when I feel like I just need a little bit of a break from romantasy, I typically read horror. This year so far, I think I've only read one, and that was The Creeper by A.M. Shine, which I loved. But anyways, My Best Friend's Exorcism. This has been around the block on BookTube. I think a lot of people have read this and talked about it. We're familiar with Grady Hendrix. I am still so obsessed with this cover. I really wanted to get the physical copy of this book because the fact that it looks like a VHS tape and the back with like the real pictures that look like they're from a movie trailer, I just think this is so cool, and it gives Stranger Things vibes because it takes place, I believe, in the 80s. I might use this as my book that I read in the dark. The next book that I have is Dark Harvest by Norman Partridge. This I may use for either a book that takes place in the fall or a book that has orange or black on the cover, because it does have orange from our little jack-o'-lantern head. This book is only 150 pages and the font is massive. Like, it's giving Scholastic Book Fair with the font, and I'm not mad about it. But I might also use this as my novella book, because there's read a manga, graphic novel, or novella. So this book follows a town. Every autumn, there's a scarecrow jack-o'-lantern monster that comes out of the cornfields, and he tries to kill whoever he can get his hands on. But it's like a rite of passage for the boys in the town to kill this monster that comes out. So it's kind of a kill or be killed situation. It sounds crazy, and it sounds like a really fun time. And then after I read Dark Harvest, my friend Hannah from Hannah Blackwell told me about this book called Burn for Jack by Aiden Pierce. I'm going to be reading this on Kindle Unlimited. I believe it's on KU. It's only 93 pages. So this is another book that I might use for takes place in the fall, orange or black on the cover, or my novella book. But this is a spicy book about a pumpkin-headed boogeyman of Hollow Hill. He used to be a man and now he's a monster, but it's a dark romance. And I just think it would be so unhinged and so funny to read like an actual horror book about a scary monster and then essentially a dark romance about said monster. So
that's where my mental space was at, if you were curious.
That's what I have so far for summerween. These other books are kind of just hopefuls because I don't know if you noticed, but they chunky, especially when I'm not in a TBR mood. So we'll see if I end up getting to these. The first, oh my gosh, she is so big. The first is Queen of Shadows. I'm still working through my first read of the Throne of Glass series. So this is the next book. I've been trying to do one a month, and I'll be honest, I failed for June. Then I have Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent. This is the third and final book in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. Also, this cover is just one of my most favorite covers in the whole stinking world, but she is also very chunky. I think she's 700 pages, yep. I'm scared. The second book in the series was Pain, so I'm just scared where this is gonna go, and I haven't been able to work up the nerve to actually like read and finish it. But I waited such a long time between book 1 and book 2 of the series that it was almost hard for me to get back into the story with book 2, and I want to not do that again. I'm just not positive that I'm ready for emotional destruction. And then the final book, this is the book that I'm least hopeful that I'm going to get to, but I wanted to throw it on here. I do have the audiobook on Libby. I waited for this audiobook for so long. I put in the hold for this book. I requested the hold in January or maybe February, and I just got it like last week. So clearly a lot of people wanting to read this book and listen to the audiobook. That is my motivation to get to it, because I have the audiobook and I've been sitting on it for a week and I haven't listened to it. I don't want to wait another million bajillion years for the audiobook to become available. So that's the motivation for The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is a dragon Viking Norse inspired story. As y'all know, I've been on my dragon journey so far this year. I was nervy to get to this after I read Fourth Wing so recently and like absolutely loved it, but this is a much more like epic, true high fantasy with dragons, whereas obviously Fourth Wing was a fantasy romance with like dark academia, military school vibes. This has a very different atmosphere, so I think I should be fine. It's just more intimidating, you know, because it's a high fantasy, it's very big brained. There's a lot of like Viking names when I was looking in here, like Okra and Roikia, but that's what audiobooks are for, to help us out. This is the tentative TBR for June. For July, I'm kind of in a mood reading type of way. I'm picking up books that just call to me in the moment, but if I had priorities, these are priorities. But that being said, friends, I am going to end this monthly reset vlog here. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Let me know what books are on your July TBR. I would love to know. Have you read any of the books that I mentioned? What were your thoughts and feelings about them? I will catch you in the comments, and I will see you in my next one, friends. Bye.